She built an entire airline company with her bare hands and one strict rule: never fall for someone who works for you. Then a British lawyer walks through her office door, and every rule she has spent her whole career living by starts falling apart one at a time. Welcome back to Mr. A Stories. Today we are covering Office Romance, a workplace romantic comedy built around one simple question: what happens when the person who created every rule in the building becomes the very first person to break it? I am going through this one in full, painfully complete detail, every relationship beat, every workplace conflict, every twist, so by the end, you will feel like you have watched the entire thing yourself. Our story centers around Jackie Cruz, the chief executive officer of an airline company called Air Cruz, a business her own family founded and built from the ground up. Jackie has spent the majority of her adult life pouring absolutely everything she has into this company. She did not simply inherit success, she earned every ounce of authority she now holds through relentless discipline, long hours, and a leadership style that borders on intimidating. Inside the walls of Air Cruz, employees respect Jackie deeply, but almost none of them actually know her on a personal level. She keeps her guard up at all times, treating her professional identity almost like armor. One of the defining rules of Air Cruz, a policy Jackie herself enforces without exception, is a strict ban on romantic relationships between employees. This is not a minor company guideline buried in an employee handbook somewhere. It is central to how Jackie runs her entire operation, a reflection of just how seriously she takes the idea that personal feelings should never be allowed to interfere with professional responsibility. At the beginning of the story, Jackie's path has not really crossed with a lawyer named Daniel Blanchflower, a mysterious, quietly charming Englishman who exists somewhere on the periphery of the company's operations. That distance ends abruptly when Jackie's trusted senior legal counsel, a man named Peter Vance, suddenly becomes unavailable in the middle of an important legal matter, choking on his breakfast in a moment that is as chaotic as it is inconvenient for the timing of everything happening at Air Cruz. With Peter suddenly out of commission, the company urgently needs someone to step in and handle a serious legal situation, and Daniel is the man who gets pulled directly into Jackie's orbit as a result. Daniel's first real interaction with Jackie is awkward, filled with the kind of nervous energy you would expect from someone suddenly thrown into a high-pressure situation working directly under a notoriously demanding executive. But Daniel does not fold under that pressure. He proves himself highly capable almost immediately, handling the legal complexities of the situation with a level of skill that genuinely earns Jackie's attention and, more importantly, her respect. For a woman who does not hand out respect easily, this matters a great deal. From here, the attraction between Jackie and Daniel develops gradually rather than all at once. It is built through repeated interactions, late nights working through legal documents, small moments of humor breaking through the tension of corporate stress, and the slow realization on both sides that there might be something more here than a simple working relationship. Still, the policy Jackie herself put in place looms over every one of these moments, an ever-present reminder that acting on these feelings would mean breaking one of her own most sacred professional rules. The turning point in their relationship comes when Jackie and Daniel are required to travel together to the Dominican Republic for an important deposition connected to the legal matter Daniel has been handling. Away from the office, away from the constant scrutiny of employees, board members, and company policy hanging over their every move, the dynamic between them shifts completely. Alone together in an unfamiliar setting, their feelings finally break through the professional boundaries they have both been trying to maintain. Neither of them can fully hold back what has been building between them, and passion takes over despite every reason they both know they should resist it. In this moment, away from Air Cruz entirely, both Jackie and Daniel openly admit that they have feelings for one another. When the two of them return from the Dominican Republic, everything has changed. They become nearly inseparable, spending as much time together as their demanding professional lives will allow, both of them fully aware that continuing this relationship inside the walls of Air Cruz means directly violating the very policy Jackie has spent years defending as non-negotiable. As their relationship deepens, Jackie opens up to Daniel about a piece of her past that explains exactly why she built such a rigid, guarded exterior in the first place. She reveals that her ex-husband cheated on her, a betrayal that clearly left a lasting mark on how she approaches vulnerability and trust. This single piece of backstory recontextualizes everything about Jackie's character up to this point. Her intense drive, her intimidating reputation, and her refusal to allow any personal softness into her professional life are not simply personality traits. They are a defense mechanism, built specifically so she never has to feel that kind of humiliation and heartbreak again. She does not want to be perceived as fragile or as someone who can be trampled over a second time, and enforcing strict boundaries, both professionally and personally, has become her way of protecting herself from ever repeating that experience. If you are enjoying this deep dive so far, take a moment right now to subscribe to Mr. A Stories, because Daniel is hiding a secret of his own, and once Jackie discovers it, their entire relationship gets put to the test in a way neither of them expects. While things seem to be moving forward beautifully between them, Jackie starts to notice that Daniel appears to be hiding something, a private matter he seems determined to keep completely separate from his relationship with her. Rather than confronting him directly and demanding an explanation, Jackie decides to follow him herself, and what she discovers changes the tone of their relationship significantly. She follows Daniel to a prison, only to learn that his sister is currently incarcerated there. Even more surprising, Daniel's sister already knows about Jackie, meaning Daniel has been quietly sharing details of this new relationship with his family, even while keeping the situation from Jackie entirely. Jackie confronts Daniel directly about why he felt the need to keep something this significant a secret from her. Daniel, clearly uncomfortable, explains that there are certain parts of his life he simply prefers to keep private and guarded, a boundary he has maintained for a long time regardless of who he is dating. But Jackie is not willing to accept that answer as their relationship continues to grow more serious. She tells him plainly that if they are going to move forward together, they need to be honest and vulnerable with each other, without secrets standing between them. This moment becomes a turning point in the dynamic, forcing both of them to confront how much they are actually willing to open up to one another, especially given how carefully both of them have built emotional walls around themselves for very different reasons. While Jackie and Daniel are working through the complications of their personal relationship, the professional side of the story is heating up just as intensely. Air Cruise becomes the target of ruthless corporate maneuvering, with serious threats circling both the company's stability and Jackie's position at the top of it. Jackie is simultaneously fighting a damaging lawsuit that threatens to undermine everything she has built, adding enormous pressure on top of an already complicated personal situation. Inside the office, a colleague named Sydney adds another layer of complexity to Jackie's professional world. Rather than functioning as a simple, one-dimensional workplace rival, Sydney represents the highly competitive corporate environment that shaped Jackie into the relentless executive she has become. Sydney's presence throughout the story serves as a reminder of exactly the kind of professional world Jackie has spent her entire career surviving inside, a world where vulnerability is treated as a liability rather than a strength. As the pressure mounts, a corporate figure named William emerges as a direct threat to Jackie's leadership, pushing an agenda that puts her position as chief executive in serious jeopardy. The combination of the ongoing lawsuit, William's maneuvering, and mounting scrutiny over her rule-breaking relationship with Daniel puts Jackie in an incredibly difficult position, professionally and personally. At one especially difficult point, Jackie considers resigning entirely from the company she built her entire identity around, overwhelmed by the accumulating weight of everything happening around her at once. However, in a pivotal moment, Jackie receives an outpouring of support from people around her who believe in what she has built and who she truly is underneath the tough exterior she projects at work. Feeling genuinely overwhelmed by this support, Jackie makes the decision that she will not resign after all. Instead, she chooses to stand her ground and fight William directly rather than walking away from everything she has spent her life creating. Meanwhile, following the confrontation over his hidden secret, Daniel spends time genuinely reflecting on how he handled keeping his sister a secret from Jackie. In one particularly memorable and embarrassing moment, an incident occurs that leaves Daniel humiliated in front of Jackie, causing him to rush away from the situation completely, planning to sit in his own shame indefinitely rather than face her again right away. Yet surprisingly, this moment of vulnerability and embarrassment does not push Jackie away from him at all. Instead, it seems to soften something in her. Rather than distancing herself, Jackie calls Daniel into her office and asks him whether he would be willing to take over full daily operations of the company's legal department, a significant professional vote of confidence that shows just how much her feelings for him have deepened despite every obstacle standing between them. Everything builds toward Jackie's final major company conference, an event that, at this point in the story, she has already planned as her very last official function before officially resigning from her position as chief executive of Air Cruise, believing this is still the path she must take despite the support she received earlier. As the conference gets underway, Daniel makes a dramatic entrance, rushing to the venue in front of reporters, employees, and everyone gathered for the event, and publicly confesses his love for Jackie in front of the entire crowd, throwing away any remaining pretense of keeping their relationship hidden or professional. This is not a quiet, private declaration. It happens completely out in the open, in front of exactly the kind of public scrutiny Jackie has spent her entire career trying to avoid when it comes to her personal life. Rather than reacting with embarrassment or retreating back into her guarded professional shell, Jackie gladly accepts Daniel's public declaration of love. In this moment, she makes the decision to formally remove the very policy she spent years enforcing, the rule banning romantic relationships between employees at Air Cruise, acknowledging that the rule she built to protect herself from vulnerability no longer serves the life she actually wants to live. The story lands on a distinctly happy note. Jackie ultimately does step away from her role as chief executive, but rather than framing this as a loss, the story presents it as Jackie finally gaining something she had been missing for years, genuine personal freedom and a healthier balance between the relentless demands of running Air Cruise and actually living a fulfilling life outside of work. Daniel does not appear as some kind of savior swooping in to rescue Jackie from her problems. Instead, his role throughout the story is to help her recognize a truth she already understood deep down long before he ever entered her life, that constant control and emotional guardedness, while effective for building a company, were never sustainable as a way to actually live. The film closes with Jackie and Daniel publicly sharing a kiss, cementing their relationship openly rather than hiding it away behind company policy any longer. For those who stay through the credits, there is an additional reward. A post-credits scene reveals that Jackie and Daniel have taken their relationship even further, showing a surprise engagement between the two of them, confirming that everything they fought to build together throughout the story was never just a temporary workplace fling, but something built to last well beyond the walls of Air Cruise. What makes this story resonate beyond its surface-level romantic comedy setup is the deeper theme running underneath it. Jackie spent years building emotional walls after being betrayed once before, using professional control as a substitute for personal vulnerability. Daniel, in his own way, was doing something similar, keeping parts of his life carefully guarded and separate from the people closest to him. Their relationship forces both of them to confront exactly why they built those walls in the first place, and ultimately, choosing each other becomes less about breaking a corporate rule and more about finally choosing to live without the armor either of them had been hiding behind for years. So here is a question worth thinking about. If following one strict rule you built for yourself was the only thing standing between you and real happiness, do you think you would have the courage to break it the way Jackie finally did, or would years of self-protection make that risk feel impossible to take? Let me know what you think in the comments. That is the complete story of Office Romance. If this deep dive breakdown kept you engaged from beginning to end, do not forget to like this video, subscribe to Mr. A Stories, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next full recap. I will see you in the next story.